Countdown. Hello, I am Willie Bragg, host of the Willie Bragg Show. Welcome to another edition this morning. And I want to talk about something that is, I'm not going to say it's trivial, but I am perplexed how everything, you could talk about orange juice and it will become a partisan issue. Every little skirmish in society becomes a culture war. Things that are, mundane becomes, a partisan battle of, I got you. No, motherfucker, I got you. Oh, no, fuck you. I got you. It's like, it's stupid. If there's a shooting that happens, the liberals, they did this. Oh, those crazy right wingers, they did that. And it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it's stupid. It's just, I just want to just tear out every strand of hair that's on my comb over on top. That's how I feel. It's not that bad of a comb over. But anyway, when COVID hit 2 years ago, graphics are important. They are. So we'll do what we're going to do here. This is a picture of a shelf of a grocery store in Venezuela. And you hear, I hear it as a socialist nonstop. It's policies like that cause us to empty shelves. Socialism don't work. Well, shelves are full and stacked up in Cuba. And I'm going to tell you, Cuba is a command economy compared to Venezuela. Venezuela is still a free market economy, by the way. And, we can have a disagreement on how benign or benevolent or authoritarian or whatever you want to say about Nicolas Maduro. But Nicolas Maduro and Hugo Chavez did not cause empty shelves in Venezuela. What caused empty shelves in Venezuela is the United States bullying Venezuela. The United States is a big bully picking on a little kid in the playground. So, you get a big kid, a big bully shoving around, you get a big kid that's 200 pounds, 5'8" or 5'9", pushing a 90-pound weakling that's, 4 feet 9 inches tall. What do you think is going to happen? The United States like to pick on countries they don't like and then blame the internal problems on the government they have at the moment. So, I don't want to make it about Venezuela, but I'm just giving you that example because everything that's bad in Venezuela is because of supposedly socialist policies. Venezuela is not even a socialist economy. It is a free market economy. We can make an argument of what kind of ideology the people have in power in Venezuela, but it's still a free market economy, and the government sector in places like France and Denmark is actually much larger than it is in Venezuela. That is the God honest truth. So, And the reason I'm bringing up Venezuela is to make a point, and that point would basically be this. What is this? This is a shelf in an American grocery store. You notice it's empty. And the last time I checked, we are still a capitalist country. And the thing about it is that what I want to talk about is COVID. Now, the empty shelves in Venezuela. Well, you know what? They got COVID in there over there too in Venezuela. That's causing the empty shelves, partly, just as COVID caused empty shelves all across the United States. Now, I am at a point where I am washing my hands of the two-party system. And I'm not here to demonize, I really am not here to demonize the average Democrat or the average Republican, the next door neighbor, the co-worker, the person you go to church with, or whomever you associate with in whatever social environment. If I'm mad at anybody, it will be elected Democrats and elected Republicans who don't give a shit about you or me. And that's what it comes down to. And so we come to this next point here. And that next point is this: that we have a silly situation. And when I mean silly, you can't get any sillier than Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Because, 2 years ago when COVID came out, I actually thought that they all sucked, the Democrats and Republicans, and how they handled it. In some ways, we did get a little bit of a stimulus because I would say I would be willing to give Trump a little credit on that. Because, for one, he was talking about his political survival. Not knocking him down for that. But the thing about it is that, you have partisan Democrats and you have Republicans in Congress that didn't want to do the right thing. So, there you have it. A lot of governors from both parties didn't want to do the right thing. And you had an extreme situation where you had people like Gavin Newsom in California basically doing an authoritarian lockdown all over the place, and overly forcing people to wear a mask. And then you have people like Governor DeSantis down in Florida, who wants everything out in the open, trying to make it sound like he's for freedom and all that, when he's not. When he basically allow a protest law where rioters, potential rioters, or political opponents can actually be murdered. That's not hyperbole. Where a car can actually, when they feel quote unquote threatened, they can go through, and if they happen to hit somebody, they get immunity. So I'm no fan of Gavin Newsom. I'm no fan of Ron DeSantis. I am objective because I am outside the two-party system. I am thinking of never voting again because our politicians from both parties are such a letdown. They're such a letdown that, like I said in my rant yesterday, that I can't even get all that enthused about the one person that's outside the two-party system that's actually elected in the highest part of this highest office in the country, which is the highest elected independent, is Bernie Sanders of Vermont. And I don't even get all that excited about him anymore. So that's where I'm at right now. So, I again, everybody points fingers and empty shells. Oh, it was Trump's fault. Biden's been a president for about a year now, almost a year now. Oh, empty shelves. Well, it's Biden's fault. How about this? The empty shelves are neither Trump's fault, or is it Biden's fault. We had a COVID, and we had the supplies in the world scene. It's been affected for the worse. And actually, if you want to blame people, you can blame Bill Clinton, and you can blame the corporate Democrats, and you can blame the Republicans in the 1990s that voted for NAFTA, and that allowed to basically destroy our industrial base and get rid of it, pretty much, and destroy what little bit of unions we had left, and actually melted away the middle class. And for all the Trump haters out there, you got nobody to blame for yourself to having Trump when you have all these bad policies. Somebody comes along that use a lot of rhetoric or talking points that's outside the system, saying I'm going to go and fix this shit. Well, people are going to listen to these people, and that's you got nobody to blame but yourselves for that. And then, as I said, you go and the Democrats go and fuck over Bernie Sanders a second time because Joe Biden looks safe. And by golly, we all wanted to go back to normal. Now, I'm no fan of Trump. I did a lot of policies I disagree with. But I did not want to go back to what was called normal. If normal meant George W. Bush and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and George Herbert Walker Bush and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, that's the normal I was used to for many years. And that's the kind of normal that makes me vote third party much of my life. But everybody wants to be partisan. Anything happens is, well, let's go and score political points. And that's what we're stuck with. Nobody wants to do what's right. Everybody wants to do what's politically partisan and expedient. So, to think about it, we're going to get back to this. We got Venezuela. Poverty. Okay, as I said, the poverty is caused by American bullying. I'm not being anti-American saying that. It's a fact. American bullies. It's not even all that partisan to say that. It isn't, because look what happened with nation building in the Middle East. It got to the point where, it became nonpartisan to oppose war. And that's actually a good, something refreshing for a change. I remember I was going to anti-war rallies in 2006, 2007, 2008. And, a bunch of rowdy lefties out there, but, ran across those Ron Paul supporters and libertarian types or what have you. And even some, God help me, even some Buchananites out there. But you know what? Everybody was opposing these wars because we're tired of this shit. It's really tiresome dealing with what we got to deal with every day politically. Now, I want to get to this photo here. Venezuela previously, Mississippi. Not necessarily, not sitting there trying to go and beat up on people from Mississippi and act like I'm superior, whatever. No. I mean, I live in North Carolina. I live in the same region of the country. And there are places in North Carolina that looks like this too. And, you think about places like Mississippi and places like North Carolina where there's low level of unionizations, and public services are a little more on the, shall I say, means testing, which in a way, that's where your cycle dependencies come in when whatever welfare social services that exist. And Cornel West basically argued for many years that the problem with social programs in the United States that it's not job-centered the way it is in a lot of European countries. And as usual, Dr. Cornel West is correct. But these empty shelves and anything that's unpleasant that happens, people, we got to stop blaming each other. We got to stop blaming our neighbors and our coworkers, or anybody we associate with down the neighborhood bar or what have you. It is not. Yeah, I mean, it's not your next door neighbor. It's not your. It's not the people at the pool hall that you have a disagreement with. It's the haves. It's the 1%. It's the 1%, and they're the ones. And part of that 1%, some of the people in the 1% are NRA members. Some of them are gun grabbers. Some of the 1% are pro-lifers. Some of them are pro-choicers. Yeah, I mean, they don't give a damn about you and me. Some of the 1% comes from all walks of life. They have different political views, but those people in the 1%, whether they're Democrat or Republican, the one thing that unites them is they keep us divided. Because, the green that's in their wallet, they have a vested interest in keeping that. I want you to think about that for a second. Sometimes I get mad. I get mad just like anybody else. And I even get caught up in the culture war that I denounce a lot of times. Then sometimes I'm in a unique position on the culture war. I've always have been. I'm in the 1980s and the 1990s. Groups like the Christian right thought I was too woke when I was just a mere civil libertarian. And in the last 10, 15 years, run across social justice warriors who shit on me in the same way that the Christian right shit on me in the 80s and 90s because I'm not woke enough. So, and the thing about it is, I'm still the same person I've always been. I support LGBTQ rights. I support the rights of people who are critical of it, as long as neither side are oppressing each other. I support the right, I support freedom of religion. I also support freedom from religion. And freedom of religion and freedom from religion is the same thing. You do me, I do, you do you. And people need to stop pearl clutching on both sides. I would get along well with the Libertarian Party, but I'm just not an economic libertarian. So I just wanted to go and talk about these things because, it's like anything that happens that people want to make an argument about, they will do it. And I just wanted to share that this morning. It's just some thoughts that flow through my mind. So anyway, we got a chat line here. I would like to talk to you because I love these busy chat lines. Taylor Cole says, Trump acting like Mitch McConnell could be trusted with any power at all. Was Trump selling out worse than Sanders not legally challenging his being cheated in 2016 or 2020 primaries? Bernie Sanders. I'm telling you, I've been on this, I've had this channel for 2 years now, and I'm telling you, it really just hurt me to see Bernie Sanders have his shit stolen from him twice. And he came up quicker than he did with Hillary Clinton. Now, I've said that it's almost understandable. I mean, I don't like Joe Biden, but he's less hateful than Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's an absolutely hateful person. I can understand why Bernie Sanders wanted to go and fight that Karen to the very end. I said he should have done the same thing with Joe Biden. But the empathy factor. We're talking about Joe Biden, who was friends with Jesse Helms. And then when Bernie Sanders came into the Senate in 2007, he was kind of a, young Turk. Nothing to do with the internet program. He was basically a newcomer, a newbie. Biden made him feel at home in the Senate. So he has the empathy factor. So we got also from Taylor Coles, not voting doesn't give you any leverage. I know, I'm very frustrated. I'm an old fart, and I'm just frustrated. Just seeing this country going in the wrong direction perpetually. Let me continue. If everyone who never voted third party instead, that would be real leverage. Well, I have voted majority of the time third party in my life. At best, within the two party system, I guess you could say I've been a part time Democrat. I've even voted for a Republican two or three times in my entire life. One person I voted for was registered of deeds in Johnson County. When my grandmother was alive, he was a member of the same church and a friend of the family. So I was like, oh, what the hell? I'll go ahead and vote for this person. And I voted for some treasurer person, some position years ago, um, as a favor to somebody. But I have actually consistently voted third party. Most of the time, I would say probably about 90% of the time, I have voted third party. So you know, let's see, we got here hot retarded chicks. I always enjoy hearing from you, Willie. Hey, how are you, hot retarded chicks? Let's see here. I don't understand Taylor at all. Um, well, I do. I mean, we could go and do more third parties. It'll be all better, honestly. I mean, what is there to lose by voting third party? Because we're certainly getting a raw deal from Democrats and Republicans alike. And I'm evolving on this issue that I am divorcing the two party system from now on. When I was in the Socialist Party USA, the National Secretary, Greg Payson, used to kind of lecture some of us about voting for the Democrats. You know what I mean? And I was just like, some of us was like, come on now, occasionally is appropriate. And I used to think that. But, and I've had some run ins with Greg, but I'm looking back and thinking, man, I think he was correct. I think he really was correct after all this time. So I'm not voting for another Democrat ever again, or a Republican for that matter. Um, you might want to call him a Democrat, perhaps, but the only person I don't live in Vermont, but I would still vote for Bernie Sanders if I lived in Vermont. But because he still did break through the two party system, and he's still enough of an anomaly for that. So anyway, if you all like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, well, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to share feel free to also subscribe to this channel. I don't want to sound like I'm rehearsed. I'm really not rehearsed, but I jumble my words. Feel free to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. And until next time, keep that red flag banner flying. Keep the class struggle going. And free Julian Assange. Because that's important. It's one of my pet issues right now. Y'all take it easy.